Welcome back to episode 2 of the Future World's Dragon's Den 2020. My name's Ben Clark. I'm the director of Future Worlds, and we are the on-campus startup accelerator here at the University of Southampton. We exist to help the brilliantly talented, aspiring founders here at the university to change the world with their ideas. And the Future World's Dragon's Den event that's been running for a few years is central to what we do and how we help those founders to really power forward. And through the last few years, the Dragon investors that have come down live on stage in front of hundreds of people in the audience have made offers of more than £500,000 of investment to the student startups that have been pitching to them. But this year is the year that everything goes online. Will the investors be ready to make investment decisions and offers to startups that they've not met in person, that they've only seen through a video call? Well, last night we saw one offer was made, but the founders walked away. They didn't want to take the offer, so there was real drama in the den just last night. This evening we're going to be seeing 2 more startups that are pitching. Will they be able to get an offer out of the Dragons this evening? That is the question. So let's remind ourselves, who are the Dragons that are meeting the startups this evening? We've got Andy Doe, founder of confetti.co.uk, one of the early internet pioneers here in the UK. We've got Chris Broad. He was a director of Apple, one of the most wildly successful companies in the world. And James Vernon, he co-founded Brevan Howard, which quickly became one of the largest hedge funds in the world. And Sonia Lamy, a successful fund manager in London and frequent angel investor. So those are the Dragons, but the question that they have been grappling with is, will they be able to make those offers online? What are the dynamics of it being an online only event? And so we caught up with the Dragons. Let's remind ourselves of what they're thinking and what they're looking for in the founders.
The interesting thing for me is going to be seeing how we make this work online today.
This is the new world. We just have to make it work.
It's going to be more difficult, isn't it? It's going to be more difficult.
We might be in a position to make slightly better investment decisions and be a little bit less emotive.
We want people who are 110% focused, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Does this person have the tenacity to just keep going and pivoting if they have to pivot?
A sort of hustle attitude is essential.
They were looking for an interesting idea.
And so let's not wait any longer. It's what we've all been looking forward to. Let's go to the second pitch of the Future World's Dragon's Den from Angel Aerospace. Welcome to the Future World's Dragon's Den 2020 virtual stage to Radu and Umar with their startup, Angel Aerospace.
Have you ever seen anyone flown to hospital from a ski resort or national park or maybe a car accident? When injured in remote areas, your life depends on minutes. Help cannot be an hour away. We are working on a vehicle that will combine the speed of helicopters with the low cost of land vehicles. You see, every year in the UK, more than 10,000 people suffer injuries in hard-to-reach locations. Injuries vary from a sprained ankle to multiple serious traumas where the casualty needs immediate evacuation. Air ambulances are few and far between. They cost millions to purchase and tens of thousands to operate. What if instead we could use a vehicle that is more compact, more cost-effective, and more easily integrated in first responder operations? We have invented the Angel, a single-person, fully electric multicopter specifically designed for search and rescue operations. It meets first responder needs for portability, ease of maintenance, and low-cost transportation, as confirmed by our customers. The Angel will be able to lift a single paramedic with medical equipment to the top of a mountain or the bottom of a cliff, allowing for rapid access to casualties. It will be compact enough to fit in the back of a van, so it can be quickly brought on site and configured for flight by a single paramedic. Being fully electric, it has few moving parts, so it will be very easy to maintain. The fully electric part also improves safety thanks to a lack of fuel tanks. Safety is further improved with built-in redundancy. The Angel is able to land safely even in the event of motor failure. With autonomy and stabilization software, pilot training will be rapid and simple, and this also opens the door for autonomous casualty evacuation. With a price point of about £120,000 to buy or lease, this is something that small independent organizations could realistically afford. To put it into context, for the cost of a single helicopter ambulance, you could put an angel in every mountain rescue base across the UK. The project started about a year ago as our master's project. It was the vision of Dr. Angelo Grubisic, a pioneer of manned flight as a wingsuit base jumper and jet suit pilot for Gravity Industries. Unfortunately, Dr. Grubisic passed away right at the start of the project, and we had to continue without him. But seeing the tremendous potential of our platform, we are now looking to build a startup around it.
We're working with industry leaders in battery and motor technology and have raised over £6,000 to date. So far, we've tested a scaled-down model and designed a proof of concept that's awaiting its first flight trial. Permission for this flight trial can be granted through a Large Model Aircraft Association, with processes agreed with the CAA. Our first vehicle to market will be a cargo drone, and in the meantime, we'll develop and certify the manned version of the Angel. Out of the over 300 search and rescue, mountain rescue, RNLI and air ambulance bases in the UK, many have expressed an interest in the Angel. The Coast Guard have also signed a letter of support. The UK drone market is predicted to boost the economy by £42 billion by 2030, and we plan to be among the leaders of manned flight in this sector. Similar systems in development by competitors are larger, more expensive, and cost more to maintain. Direct competitors, while having a higher payload capacity, have much higher costs, like the tactical robotic cormorant at $2.5 million per unit. Our plan is this November test a half-scale proof of concept. In March 2021, we want to test a full-scale proof of concept, and by March 2022, we want to develop a fully functional prototype that can accommodate a person. We already have the funding we need for the half-scale proof of concept. On the condition that it works, we're asking for £25,000 in return for 5% equity in our business. This money will go towards developing and testing the full-scale proof of concept. After this, we'll be looking for a further £100,000 to develop the fully functional prototype, which will take us to March 2022. Our aim is to release the manned version of the Angel for sales in 2025. Our vision is for the Angel to save lives as a first responder vehicle, first in the UK and then globally. This is your chance to help to bring that vision to life. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to questions.
Thank you, Radu and Umar. That was a great pitch. The crowd will be going absolutely wild. So over to you, Dragons, now for your questions.
Yeah, so I can open. Thank you very much for your presentation, I should say, first of all. Very cogent and clear. I think it was great to show a picture of it, because what I had in my mind's eye was something very different and much scarier than the image that you showed. so that was good. And also the timeline at the end, I think was very helpful. So you actually put some lines in the sand about how much money you think you might need by when, and what the rollout could look like.
From the picture you showed, it looked like it was designed to move one person around. Is that right? So if I'd broken my leg at the bottom of a cliff, and you send this presumably it's piloted by, it's like a drone. But then how do I get myself into if my leg's broken, how do I get into the airplane?
As an MVP, we're not thinking of it being fully autonomous. We're seeing it as a way to very quickly deliver a first responder to the casualty. And also, we've designed a payload so that first responder can bring enough medical equipment to keep that person alive and safe for several hours while more conventional help would get there.
And I've got another question. How much does it cost to rent a helicopter? So let's say the Coast Guard wants to save someone, and the only way to get there is by, quickly in the time frame is a helicopter. Obviously, they don't buy the helicopter; they just rent it, or I suppose pay for that one-off. How much would that cost?
For an air ambulance, it will be about £3,000 an hour. For a search and rescue helicopter, which have much greater capabilities, would be about £8,000 an hour.
Yeah, I'm just thinking you can pay for quite a few of these hours before you have to, buy £120,000 less reliable, one person only person transporter.
We've spoken to Ogden Valley Mountain Rescue, Hampshire Search and Rescue, we've spoken to the Coast Guard, the RNLI, and even the military, and they have all expressed interest in such a system. So instead of 5 air ambulance bases in the UK that are quite far away, you could have 40 or 50 Angels, and each of them is always going to be closer to the casualty than a helicopter.
If you manage to develop this vehicle, this electrically powered flying vehicle with the sort of specifications that you talked about, there are not other applications, other industry sectors that it would be also applicable to, and where potentially you could find it easier to earn more money?
So there are definitely other applications. When it comes to it being easier, we've identified the first responder because in that market we can stand out among the competitors by making something compact and cheap.
Why would the air taxi, if it's successful and it works, the competitors in this space, yes, it costs more to make initially, but why would they not then, if they thought there was money, why wouldn't they then branch into this as well?
For example, a lowland search and rescue team, it comes into the way they would actually use the system. So air taxis do have a limited range like our system as well. We're talking less than 20 kilometers. Air taxis are larger and heavier, and even if they were to lease, it would still be more expensive.
Because I think the compactness is sort of what makes this different from what I understand versus the other alternatives, is the fact that you can fold it and put it in the back of a van. But then if you were to need 5 people to carry it, then it loses a little bit of the benefit of being compact.
We could imagine 2 people carrying it.
Also, to give a bit of context, all of the teams we've mentioned above will usually work in teams of more than 10. So it wouldn't be something impossible to them.
Because it's a very fair point as investors, is this dilution concept. So 25k initially, so you're only taking the 25k if you can prove the half scale model works, which I think is a good approach. So it's giving some comfort to us that there is something. So then you're valuing the company after the 25k, you're valuing the company at 500k. Now, how long after that do you need the 100k for the full scale model?
Around March 2021.
Okay, and then have you thought about what valuation you would be raising the money at?
At least $1 million, we'd think.
So 100,000 buys you less than 10%. Then there were some big numbers coming after that. I think you said you then need $1 million and 5 million, if I remember the timeline correctly. So to raise 5 million, and yes, some might come from grants, which is not dilutive. Some might be from other investors. You'll need to value the company at multiples of 5 million in 3 years' time to not dilute everyone else that much. And I think that sort of is the question, because is the entry price low enough if we think about what other raises you have to do between now and the end game? Because you don't want to do a down round. That never looks good. You always want to show your investors in the 6 months we've done progress, therefore we can justify a higher valuation.
So Radu and Umar, perhaps you've got examples of other startups in the space, maybe in the kind of valuations that they've been able to raise money at, kind of what the trajectory might look like for you.
Yeah, so there are quite a few other startups trying to do this, as you'd expect. After their first round of funding, they're raising amounts of £10 million or $500,000, 2.2 million. £10 million is towards the air taxis, which are a lot more. But yeah, 2.2 million or 500,000 is what has been raised so far in first funding rounds for other companies. That's kind of where we're getting the valuation from, and also from talking to experts in the industry and just reaching out to people.
So lots of tough questions for Radu and Umar. The Dragons had a chance to talk amongst themselves. Now we get to see what are the Dragons thinking.
In my case, I'm going to pass on this opportunity. I sort of just feel it needs a lot of capital. I'd be very curious to see how you do it, and good luck with the half prototype in November and what's next. But I'm going to be out. It does not suit my risk profile at this moment, but thank you for your presentation.
Thanks for your presentation. I thought it was a really good presentation, actually, and I thought you answered the questions really well. But I'm afraid I'm also out. I think it's a really ambitious project. It just feels to me a little bit like you are attacking one of the smaller niches in the market.
I'd love to be involved in this project. I think you guys are terrific. You obviously are great engineers. You've got a great vision. The problem is, I don't think it's investable for me because I think the prospect of me getting a good return on my investment are very slim, because I think it's the kind of project which will consume a lot of capital, and aerospace is notorious for consuming capital, so I'm sure you're aware. And so for that reason, very sadly, I wish I could support you, but very sadly I'm out.
It's incredible, you know, what you've done. It looks absolutely incredible. But I also struggle to see, you know, these kind of things being used anytime soon, and, you know, probably also to be, you know, a fairly niche product. So in any case, I'm out as well.
Well done, Radu and Umar. That was a great pitch. The Dragons were really interested, but sadly, no deal for you today in the den. There would still be great applause going around the cube for you right now. You're going to go straight off now to share your initial reactions with Grace, and we're going to catch up with that later on in the show. But first, we're going to go straight to our next startup pitch, and that is Avila and Nyasha with their startup, Kutenda. So welcome to the Future World's Dragon's Den 2020 virtual stage to Avila and Nyasha with their startup, Kutenda.
So I'm Avila, and alongside my co-founder Nyasha, we're here to present to you Kutenda, the world's first online global marketplace for diverse and inclusive greeting cards and gifts. Despite the greeting card industry in the UK alone being worth over 1.7 billion, and in the US this figure being at 7.5 billion, the greeting card industry has failed to adequately represent minority groups, such as myself and my brother, of course. It was an issue we've struggled with our entire lives, and it's not unique to just us. This is really concerning and quite unique when you take into account the fact that the spending power for Black and minority ethnic groups is at over £300 billion, whilst for LGBT and people living with disabilities is at 80 billion each. This is where we come in, allowing small businesses an opportunity to enter a market which has historically had many barriers. A lot of them are turning to online platforms to be able to do just that. So with Kutenda, we offer these sellers somewhere to provide to their customers the unique products which they're after, whilst also opening themselves up to an international market. We use a dropshipping method, which is working quite well as we're currently testing out our minimal viable product, in exchange for free listings alongside free resources to help these businesses develop and grow. We will also be taking 20% through commission. We're currently on stage 1, which is dropshipping. However, we hope that our later stages with more investment will allow us to begin manufacturing and distributing on a world scale. I'm now going to hand over to Nyasha to explain the rest.
In terms of reaching our customers, we're aiming to leverage our unique position as being the sole player in the market that caters strictly to diverse creatives. During this summer, the establishment of the holiday Black Pound Day, where on the first Saturday of every month is being dedicated to supporting Black enterprise, that proved to us that there is a distinct demand for underrepresented creatives. And we believe that Kutenda is best positioned to fulfill this demand, much better than our competitors at Moonpig, Thoughtful, and Etsy, specifically because Avila and I are from and understand this market. But consumers are disillusioned with the big brands who only see representation and diversity as a quick marketing gimmick and aren't actually committed to the betterment of these communities and enterprises. Currently, we have over 25 businesses under our belt with over 200 products listed. Our publicity has been very well received so far, since we've received interviews from BBC, Business Insider, Stylist Magazine, and have gained celebrity endorsement from popular US artist Jay-Z. Our asking price for Kutenda is £40,000 in return for 10% equity. We require this investment to develop our current minimum viable product that's at the dropshipping stage, as Avila had already stated. Further down the line, we'd hope to raise funds to enter a second stage, whereby we can now handle the distribution of all the cards and gifts ourselves. This would open ourselves up to even more sellers who are independent artists that couldn't be able to manufacture their products themselves. As of now, due to our lack of resources, we've been outsourcing our needs on an ad hoc basis. Currently, we're optimistic as to our year-one forecast of a revenue of £31,500. After £15,000 of costs following investment to spend on our marketing, web maintenance, and web development, we'd be expecting to take home a profit of £16,500.
We would now like to show to you what our website looks like at the moment. As you can see, this is our homepage. We feature certain products on a regular basis and have a wide variety, and our sellers are able to track their sales accordingly and independently also. We welcome any questions. Thank you.
So thank you, Avila and Nyasha. The crowd will be going wild, but now it's time, Dragons, for your questions. So Andy, you've got an incredible e-commerce background. So I'm going to go to you, Andy, first for a question.
I see greetings cards as being that's clearly kind of front and center. But what are some of the other products that you think you will sell through your marketplace?
In addition to the greeting cards, our sellers sell a variety of gift items. So it ranges from mugs to prints to even like decorative household items, allowing a wide variety, including stationery too, for customers to pick from.
So who built the website?
So I started off building it myself. It took a lot of YouTube tutorials. And then at a later stage, once it was set up, I hired 2 web developers who are based in Nigeria.
Yeah, and it's operational now. Am I right in understanding that? It is, yeah. Okay.
How do you guys get on?
That's a very great question, and it's something we're asked a lot. I can reassure you that when my mom was raising us, she made sure arguments which happened would be done within 5 minutes. So we find it very difficult to have disagreements, and when we do, we're able to, communicate them well and without falling out over the simplest things. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I do want to kill him, but I think that helps us in our cause.
Managing a company together, is it a clear split of responsibility, or are you going to be sort of start shouting at each other?
Given that the brand which I started earlier, I am technically the face of Kutenda. I'm the one who will be going out to get our branding and PR and the message out about what it is that we're doing. I have strong connections with so many, nearly close to 100 businesses who are doing similar things that we're now working to get on board. So I'll be spending a lot of time getting them signed up, listed, making sure that they're following, up-to-date holidays, making sure Christmas is coming up, so we're about to start promoting that. So I'm now in talks with our sellers to say, guys, make sure your Christmas cards are up so you can start promoting them. Nyasha, unfortunately, is going to be in the background, ripping out his hair, dealing with all the logistics and, all that.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about yourselves, what your backgrounds are, please?
So I recently graduated studying law from Southampton, of course. We're both originally from Zimbabwe and have a strong connection within our community just due to the nature of the activities which we're a part of. I started my small greeting card business, Avila Chidume, 2 years ago, and the experience has been amazing. It allowed me access to so many amazing opportunities. Recently, I was featured in a music video with Jay-Z and Pharrell Williams because they wanted to support and highlight, entrepreneurs across the world. And Nyasha can definitely tell you more about himself.
I'm currently a student right now at the University of Nottingham. And when Avila started Avila Chidume, I was there from the very beginning with her on that journey. Since initially it just started off as just an idea of Avila wanting to produce cards that other people struggle to find. So I remember we had initial design ideas, and a lot of them became incredibly popular. One of our most famous cherished cards is one of a happy birthday for a child, but the child has a hearing aid. And then Avila and I attended many market stores, like physical market stores, to show off those cards. And we got so much positive feedback from communities saying that they've never seen something like this before. People saying, oh, I finally have something to get for my sister. I finally have to get even for my friend. Since, once again, these cards aren't just for the groups who aren't represented. It's also for their friends, families, allies who want to be able to support them, but have never been able to find something that they can relate to as well. So we've received plenty of positive feedback on a whole. And since that journey with Avila Chidume, when it then came to the idea of a marketplace, and we saw that the original market itself was already growing very quickly in terms of diverse greetings cards. But then when we now saw that there was a growing hunger and demand for people wanting to be able to support these kinds of platforms and creatives. On Twitter this summer, almost every other day after Black Pound Day was founded, we would find that accounts were creating directories, as in tweeting physical lists of here's some Black businesses, some Asian businesses, businesses that support LGBT that can support. And every other day, a new list was being made. And we realized that people actually want to be collated rather than having one account with this list, another with that list. So we recognize that there is a need for a collated marketplace that these businesses can go to, that they can tell their own audience base, you can support and find me here, where they know that they'll be able to grow and access wider pools of audiences.
So why aren't you concerned about Etsy or Thoughtful or Amazon even?
So the thing which we found, especially following the Black Lives Matter demonstrations, was that Moonpig actually introduced a new range of greeting cards for Black people. And this was front page on their website for about 2 weeks exactly. And now when you try to find that business or their designs, it's on page 30 of their actual website. So for a lot of these large brands, they're happy to follow the trends as they come along. So places like Etsy, Thoughtful, all of them, their models right now are very much dependent on just serving the wider audience, not having one specific market. But for us to be able to focus and say, these are the communities which we're trying to present, it's helping our brand. People now know us as being the people to go to when you are looking for something from a minority group to support.
You asking for, was it £40,000 now for 10%? How are you planning to use that £40,000?
So the £40,000, majority of it will be going into our marketing and advertising to help develop our brand and what it is that the business is doing. In addition to that, we want to also have full-time web developers who will be maintaining and managing the site to ensure not only safety in line with GDPR and all that, but for any issues and bugs which arise, that they're solved there and then instead of waiting and now shutting down the website to be able to fix any issues which arise.
Okay, but when you say you're going to spend the majority of the 40,000 in marketing, are you spending that marketing, are you choosing a specific region to start with to see if it's a success in one place, or where is that?
Yes, so we want to begin in the UK and the US just on an online dropshipping basis to allow those large market areas.
So again, some tough questions for Avila and Nyasha. The Dragons again had a chance to talk amongst themselves, and now we get to see what the Dragons are thinking.
We're thinking along the lines of offering you a smaller amount of money to help you further develop your idea, perhaps along with some suggestions that we might be able to bring to the table, with a view to perhaps having another investment round in, say, 3 months' time, where if we think that you've got a business which has legs, then we could make an investment at that point to get it rolling. So we're thinking perhaps something of the order of £15,000. So it's a relatively small amount of money, but it's for a shorter amount of time. Because I think the business is really a little bit nascent, then I think the valuation should reflect that. So it would be a lower valuation as well. Perhaps at the £120,000 level, something like that.
The thing we think is going to be quite tough for you is to create a really credible marketplace which competes with the big players that are out there today. So that's a concern. But having said that, we feel that a curated set of products, perhaps a curated set of products from the suppliers that you're working with and some of the other suppliers that you are looking to work with, could work very well. And maybe if your focus was more on the curating, on the product origination and the working closely with the partners and curating that amazing set of products and selling them through existing platforms, it means you could actually grow your revenues more quickly, potentially in the US, which you've already identified as a really important market, potentially grow your revenues more quickly and as a result, build a bigger business more quickly and potentially at lower risk.
So, Avila, Nyasha, kind of what are your thoughts from what?
So, first and foremost, I just wanted to say thank you very, very much for coming with an offer. And thank you for recognizing that we managed to put ourselves together and work very well together for this pitch, and that we will be maintaining that.
The sellers which we have spoken to have said that they do not want to be under another brand or another corporation. They want to be able to grow independently whilst also still gaining access to the market. A marketplace which is created specifically for underrepresented groups or people catering towards them will allow them to grow as they please whilst also still having access to it. We understand everything you're saying about how marketplaces are extremely competitive. I'm not going to deny that at all. However, the growth which Etsy got was because they were open to everything. They didn't satisfy a specific niche. They have so many different varieties of products. We are focusing on a specific niche, even if it is a bunch of communities which are often underrepresented and ignored. We want to start out with greeting cards and gifts because of their uniqueness. The reason we've received so much publicity is the fact that so many people's responses have been, I didn't know cards like this existed.
You clearly feel really passionately about what you're doing and the way you're doing it, and that probably we maybe just need to spend some more time with you to kind of understand more about why you feel so passionately about that, why you feel that these other models aren't going to allow you to do what to realise the sort of ambition, because I actually feel like maybe there is some middle ground, perhaps a white label solution there, or some sort of SaaS solution that you could tap into, so you don't have to build it from scratch. I think that's our fear, is that cost of doing that is going to be very, very, very high.
And I guess what we see often is it's that dynamic between the visionary founder on one side and then these people who have been there, they've kind of got the battle scars, they've learned from experience through the way of how to wrestle it through. And I guess that's the offer that's on the table, is to sort of spend some time working through that together to try to come up with the most robust plan possible to then achieve that vision. And I guess the question that's still there and somewhat unanswered is whether that's a process, whether that's an offer that you're interested in exploring, Avila, Nyasha, whether that's something that you want to step forward with or not. I'm not sure we've got an answer from that one yet.
Thank you for the offer. And we definitely have a long way to go and a lot of growth and mentoring required for us to be able to make this a successful business. We would like to accept the £15,000 in exchange for 5%.
So you were suggesting 5% as a valuation, and I think the Dragons were not sure about that. I think that's what I'm reading from.
So 5% doesn't make sense to me. So even as an option, it's too small a proportion in the company. If it were more at the 10% level, then we could have a conversation. But at the 5%, that really doesn't make good sense to me.
Can I just add, Avila and Nyasha, you need to be comfortable and excited about this deal. And at the moment, I don't know if you really are. And if you feel that this is not your vision, you don't have to take the money now. You can always come back to us in a few months, or you can still have a conversation. But don't feel that you have to make a decision. I know normally one would for Dragon's Den, but looking at the two of you, you don't look super excited. And we want smiles at the end of this. And if you need more time to think about it, then why don't we just say there's no deal today, but we can always stay in touch and maybe chat again in a few months.
Thank you, Sonia, but I don't think that's necessary at all. We've come to a conclusion.
Yeah, my conclusion is that yes, we do want to accept that deal. We're very happy to accept that deal, and even more excited to then have further discussions, as you already mentioned, to do with how exactly revealing more about our vision and more about our understanding of the market.
Thank you, Avila and Nyasha. That was a great pitch, some tough questions and a really tough negotiation, but what applause there would be in the Cube right now, because you walk away with a £15,000 investment, £150,000 of valuation on Kutenda. That's a great result, and that is the first deal done in this year's Dragon's Den with Future Worlds. Lots of people question whether it was going to be possible. Well, we've dispelled those myths and those doubts. Excellent, really well done, Avila and Nyasha. You're going to go and share your reactions with Grace right now, and we're going to go and catch up with that too, and catch up with what Radu and Umar had to say after their pitch as well.
So, Avila and Nyasha, congratulations. How are you feeling?
So excited.
I feel great.
And your brother and sister team, and that came through really strongly, that they really liked you as co-founders. How does that feel? How is it running a business together?
I feel like we've definitely dispelled a lot of myths about how well siblings can work. So I'm really excited. Like, he's been with me since day one, both from birth and everything else. So I think it works quite well.
So, Radu and Umar, you just pitched the Dragons. What happened?
So yeah, they thought it was an exciting idea, super ambitious project, and we did seem to answer the questions quite well. The issue they had is that it's really high risk and not something that they'll be invested in at the moment. Yeah, once we've developed the product further and done more flight trials, we'll be reaching out to investors again, and hopefully we've decreased the risk a little bit by then.
And what would you say to other students, maybe other students who identify with you and the markets that you've identified? What advice would you have to those students or others who are thinking about launching their own startup?
Go for it, 100%. 100%. Don't even think about what might happen, where it might go, where you might think you might fail, or anything of that nature. If anything, I would just say, if you have that passion and that drive to start something that you can say that you created, listen to that on top of everything and go for it.
And just to follow on, don't let anyone ever cause you to doubt yourself, believe in your passion and pursue your dreams, whether or not someone is right beside you along the way.
Well, that's been another amazing evening on this year's Future World's Dragon's Den 2020 virtual stage. 2 more startups have pitched. We've had another offer of investment this evening, and this evening we saw the first deal of the year. So that has dispelled the question of whether or not there could be any deals done this year in a virtual only Teams call to make that kind of investment decision from Dragons and from founders to accept that offer. So there were some tough negotiations, some difficult questions that came out through the evening. But in the end, Avila and Nyasha, they walk away with £15,000 in cash to invest in Kutenda and to really grow that startup and see where that can take them to. Another £150,000 valuation on the business. That's a great outcome. So well done again to Avila and Nyasha. For Radu and Umar, it wasn't to be this evening, but some great advice that came from the Dragons as they were working through how they could take Angel Aerospace forward and how they could really make a go of that. So lots of great things coming out of Dragon's Den this evening. Make sure you come back and join us tomorrow evening for the 3rd of the 4 episodes this week, where we've got 2 more startups that are going to be pitching, see whether or not the Dragons have got the appetite to make any more offers, see if there's any more deals that could be done. If you've just stumbled across us online, then make sure you head over to futureworlds.com. You can find all of the details, sign up, we'll give you the joining instructions, so then make sure you don't miss out tomorrow. Thank you very much indeed.
How am I going to make money out of that investment?
I love the idea, I love the concept.
We are very skeptical about your ability.
I was featured in a music video with Jay-Z and Pharrell Williams.
All of them are waiting for you.
Yeah, it's also a great opportunity for you guys.